Hi, in this video I'm going to do a complete teardown of the iPhone 5C, and I'll show you how to replace the back housing of the iPhone 5C. If your phone is on, make sure you switch them off. So at the moment the phone is off, but if it is on, we will attempt to switch it off. This is the back housing, the brand new back housing that you can replace it with. You can see here it's pretty much brand new, really shiny. So we will replace it with this new one. And once the phone is on, we will need to switch it off. Now some of the tools you need is a prying tool, either the metal or a plastic one, a blade to help you open the screen, tweezer if you want to easily prick out the screws. You need a Phillips screwdrivers, pentalobe screwdrivers, another prying tools, and a scissors. So these are some of the tools that you will need. You also need a suction cup to open up the glass. So now that the phone is on, we will first press on the power button and switch it off. Just wait for the phone to completely turn off. Now at the bottom here are the two screws that we need to take out. So using a pentalobe screwdrivers, we will take out the two screws here. Make sure that you are putting the screws in the right place, so that later when you put it back, you remember where it is. Okay, now that the two screws has been removed, we will use a suction cup to push down. If the glass is cracked, you can put a sticky tape on and then pull it out. Now using a prying tools or a blade, you can pull out the glass. Now at the bottom here there is a small gap on the left hand side, so you can use this prying tool, plug it in like this, and go along the side and pull out the glass. Now once the glass is pulled out, we can remove the force wheel here. So I just zoom in so you can see. So remove the force wheels. This one. Two. Three. And 4 is the last one. So this is the screen connectors. So we just take this plate out. There are 3 connectors that is connecting to the screen: the camera cables, the LCD, and the touch cables. So we remove the camera cable. And there's another cable here we will need to remove. So that's another one. And there's another one on the side here. So that's the 3 cables that we now have successfully removed the screen. So once the screen is removed, we can put the screen to the side, and we can now disconnect the battery. So we will remove this 2 screws here. Then we will remove the metal plate. And we will need to disconnect the battery connector. Now the battery is disconnected. Next we will attempt to remove the battery. Now there is a tab near the bottom here we need to pull up. So near the bottom here there is a small rubber. If we just try to peel it up like this, you can see there is this rubbers. This is a little bit sticky. I'll just zoom out a little bit so it's easier to see. And just be careful of using a tweezer, you don't want to puncture the battery. Now we pull this one up, you can see there's a small gap in the middle right there, and we want to cut in between here. So using a scissors, I'm going to cut this piece into half. This will make it easier to remove the battery. So now you can see there are two rubber strips, and this rubber strips is holding down the battery. It is a new type of adhesive used on the iPhone 5S and 5C. Now the trick to remove it easily is to pry up the battery a little bit on the corner here. So using a pry tool, we will lift the battery up just a tiny bit. Not too much, just a tiny bit, because we don't want to damage the battery. And once it is lifted up a little bit, we can try to get this tape to the side, like so. So if we pull up a little bit, and we try to squeeze it down to the side here. I'll just get another one. Now if we try to squeeze this rubber to the side like this, now you can see it's going down to the side. Once the rubber's going down to the side, you can easily just pull up like this. As you can see, as you pull up, like so. So yeah, just pull up like this. So continue to pull up, continue to pull, and as you pull it should go all the way down here, because I wasn't concentrating, so I snapped it halfway. It doesn't really matter now that that piece is gone, almost gone, so we can now try to do the other piece. So just by lifting up the battery just a little bit, we can also try to get this piece underneath, like so. And by pushing it all the way down, we can now continue to pull out the battery. So I find this is the easiest way to pull out, because it is stuck with the first one. It's a little bit difficult here. Okay, it's still got stuck by the first piece of rubber, so we need to pull up the other one first. You can see now it's so much easier to remove the battery. So once that is moved, we can continue to pull. So now it's all gone. So just turn up the battery a little bit, straighten out the battery. If it is a little bit bent, we didn't bend it too much, so it's not that bad. We can just push it down, making the battery nice and flat again, and have it ready for the next install. So now that the battery is out of the way, we can work on other pieces. Now we can begin to remove all the screws and the motherboard, the logic board. So let's remove this connector. So there is antenna cables right there that we need to remove. So using a prying tool or spatula, so this one here, we lift up the antenna cables. Now that it is out of the way, we can remove some of the screws. At this point, we will remove the SIM tray. Now that the SIM tray is removed, we will attempt to go ahead and remove the camera's module at the top here. So you can either do it from the bottom up or from the top down. Let's just do it from the bottom up, upwards. Let's disconnect the battery charger ports here and the speakers with this cable here. So I'm just going to lift up these cables slowly. Right here at the bottom here, there are a few screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So remove these 7 screws, and this will allow us to remove the charging ports. And there's one more on the corner here. Now we will first remove the speakers. So the speakers right here. So using a tweezer, we can just try to get this speaker out. Now with the speakers, if you turn it around this side, you can see there is a cable attached to it. So we can just push it. So if I turn it back here, so you can see what it looks like. So there's a home button cables that's sticking on to the speaker frame. So we just flip it over, and then we try to push down that piece. And that just come off, and have the speaker turns around. Remember, this piece here goes in here like this, so that later when you put on, you don't lose it. This piece is supposed to go in here. If it accidentally come out, just put it back in place so that you don't forget it later on. So it sits just right there, like so. Now we put the speaker to the side. So next we can work on removing the motherboard. Now there are some screws here that we need to remove to get the motherboard out. We'll begin with taking the screw out on the corner one, right here. Now we will remove this screws here. And there is one at the top here that we also need to remove. This one right here. Now we were using a Phillips screwdrivers to remove the screws right here next to the SIM tray. Then the one next to it. And we go down and remove one right here. Now at the top here, there's a metal piece that's covering the camera. Remove these two. Then remove this one over here. So now we can remove that piece of metal and take out the camera. So that's the camera there. We'll take it out. Next we will remove another screws that sits just right here and here. If you can't see, I'll just zoom in so you can see. Then remove these screws down here. Now we can move this metal piece here by simply lifting it up and then out, like so. And that comes right out. Now there is another screws right here that you need to remove. That one and that one right there. So we will remove that two screws. and there is one right here. Now we can lift up that black piece of metal right there. Then that is everything's all the screws that lock down your logic board. So now that you got everything's removed, we can hold the logic board up and flip it over like so. If it is not turning, that means we still got stuck with this cable here. So the power button cables, just make sure you remove them. And then now it is loose, we can turn it over, and we're going to remove the antenna cables out. So this one here you need to take out. Take out the antenna, it has some glue around here. So we're going to get this one open. So now the logic board is detached from the phone. So you can see, we're just going to leave it to the side. So now it's this part here that we want to take out, because it has some adhesive down here, so it's basically use hot gun to blow it. So using a hot gun we can blow it and then try to warm it up a little bit. Once it is nice and warm, we can try to get it open like so. And run it along down here. Just zoom in so you can see. So just get it open all the way down here, and then lift up using this lifting motion, and it should comes out like so. And here we can just hold down and try to pull out. So just simply pull out, it is held in by the glue. So once you pull it out, you should have the charging port cables of the phone. We'll put it to the side. Now when you're taking out the logic board, there is this piece here that might come out. Take note of this gold piece. You can see it's quite hard, but yeah, this gold piece here, just take note of that. So that gold piece go right into here at the top here. So it sit in there like that. And when you take out the logic board, it might fall out, so be careful that you don't lose this piece. We're just going to pick it out and put it to the side. Now when you are replacing on the back housing with this one here, it is missing some components. If you look here closely, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. You can see it is missing this metal piece, the silver piece along here. There's none over here. Then there's this gold circle. We need to transfer them over to this piece. And down here we need to transfer this black speaker microphone filter over to this one. And this filter over here as well, the speaker filter, we need to bring it over to this one. So we're just going to do that now. So first we'll get that one open. I'm just going to use a tweezer and punch it in, and it come out like this. And then I just want to grab it onto it and then pull it out. And we can just leave it down the side here. So that's that. Then there is this piece here we need to pull out as well. So if we're just going to try to push it down, so depending on what you have with the new case. This new case here doesn't have anything in it, so we're going to need to take everything out over here and transfer it over. So I'm just going to punch it a little bit in here to make it easy to get it out. So it's coming out now. So just a bit sticky there. Okay. Just going to put this piece over here. So we want the glue coming out as well. So if we can heat it up, this part here, I'm just going to heat it up. If you heat it up, it will make it easier for it to come out, as you can see. With the heat, it'll just come out easily. And while it's still warm, you should try to transfer it over. I'll just put it on a table for now. Then you can move the gold metal piece out as well. So that's out onto the tables. Then there's this 2 gold circle we need to take out. Okay, be careful that you don't lose it. If you lose that gold metal, then you have to find another one. So there's this. So we've got the gold circle. Okay, now that everything's at the bottom is removed, we can now remove the top part here, the power button and the volume buttons. So to remove these items, we need to remove this one over here. So these screws need to be removed. Sometimes the screw can be hard to remove. Just take your time. So if this particular screwdriver doesn't work, you want to try another one. Next to the mute button is a silver piece that you don't want to lose. So there's this metal piece sit right here. Just take them out and put it to the side so that later you can put it back in. Now that it's coming out, we also want to take out the vibrator. The vibrator is on the corner right here. So it's right here, and we're just gonna remove the screws. There are two screws holding down the vibrator. So there's another one right here on the top. So if I just turn it around, you can see it's right there. Now you can take out the vibrator and put it to the side. Now that's softer items removed. Now this volume key here, you can take out the volume keys up and down and put it to the side. There's also the mute key or the silence key. We're just going to take it out. And we just put it to the side here as well. Now there's a stickers on this side that's covering up the screws you need to take out. So there, you can take out the stickers. We can put it back later. And now we will attempt to remove the two screws. Then there's another one right here. Now right next to this one is a piece of metal here that you want to take out. As you can see, we're going to remove this piece and put it to the side, as we will need to use it again. Now we're going to need to remove the cable, the flex cable that is sticking to the back housing. So if you put some heat on, this will loosen up a little bit. So I will apply some heat. So not too much that you burn the components, just lightly heat up the adhesive here, and then we can, using this prying tools, we can go along here and then pry out this piece. So there is this connector that you need to pry out. It is a little bit sticky, a little bit tricky to get out. You need to kind of push it down. You might need to heat up a little bit. If it's a bit hard, then try to heat up a little bit, otherwise you're going to break the cables. you can easily break it, so just heat it up. Okay. The heat will help to get it out easily. No. So sorry, so the heat will help to get this one out easily just using these tools. So there it comes right off. It is very sticky, so we're just going to turn over to this side. Now that everything's come off like so, you can see you can continue to this side and lift this one up. And then with the power button over here, simply push it down and it will come off like this. So using a tweezer we can push out the power button and then we can pick it out like so. Take note of this metal piece is facing downwards, so when you put the button back you remember where it goes to. And now using a pry tool, this black pry tool, we will lift up this module. So this flash here, we'll attempt to get it off and get it out. Just be patient and gently do this because the cables can snap easily. So just have an inspection around the area and then we will try to lift out these cables. So just inspect this area and see what is sticking. There's a piece of adhesive right here. So there is a piece of adhesive right here that we need to remove. So just that part there, if we just punch it in and break the adhesive, if the adhesive come out, then you can lift up this piece of cables. So here's the flex cable with the power buttons. So when you do around this part here, it can be tricky. Just be patient and be careful. If you try too hard, you will damage the cables. So the cables is right here. It's got two holes, so you can see. Now on the back housing, you can see there's nothing here. So that's why we need to lift out that plastic piece and then transfer it over to this one. And there's also this sticky tape. You can also lift it out and transfer it over. So that's the cables. That's the flex cable. We can leave it to the side. Okay, now that it's coming off, we need to remove this piece here as well. So again, using these tools, there is a screws down here we need to remove. So lift this one up. Okay, now lift up the stickers, and there's another screws underneath we need to take out. And then if you heat it up a little bit, just get it warm. Then we can try to lift it up. And out comes this antenna cables. Again, I'm just going to put it to the side here. Now there are some clips on the side of the frame that we need to remove. This clip is holding down the screens. There are two on this side and another two on this side that we need to remove. So we'll begin with the one on the left hand side. Okay, now there's the other side. And then we take this one out as well and put it to the side. Now at this point we're nearly complete, but not yet. There's still a few more pieces that need to take out. We need to take out this rubber here, and this strip down here, and this piece here. So I'm just going to use a tweezer and peel it up. They should be fairly easy to do so. If it's too sticky, you can use a heat gun and remove it. By heating it up, all the glue should come out. You can see here, it is coming out. Because I didn't heat this one up, so some of the glue still stick back onto the frame. If you heat it up, it should come out nicely. Then there's another one up here I'm going to take out. Now if you don't heat this one up, the glue is going to stay down, so I'm just going to try to glue heat it up. By heating it up, we can get the glue out with this black piece. So that piece also come out. And now it's just this final piece here. Now this piece here doesn't, even once you take it out, it doesn't stick. You can start at the top here because it's already, there's an opening. So here you can peel it out. You need it for the new housing because there isn't one with the new housing. So now we have completely removed everything. And now this new housing is pretty much the same with the original one. There's nothing left, as you can see. Looking at this, now it's all the same. We have completely removed everything. If you look, compare side by side, now everything is removed. You also want to check again to make sure that you have removed everything, as you need to move all the pieces over. And going to the left hand side here, you can see everything is removed. Now we can start to transfer the items over to this new one. Or at this point you can also decide to, if the glass is cracked and you want to put on a new glass as well, then at this point we also want to remove all the items on the glass. So with the glass, we will remove the home keys. We'll begin by removing the home button wheels, the wheels on the home buttons here. Then remove the wheel here on the metal plate. There are two wheels on the side here as well that we want to remove. There's one in the middle. So I'll just zoom out a little bit to make it easier for you to see. Then there's one at the top here. Then we'll move to the camera pieces. So we'll move this one down here. Then at the top here there is another one. We go to the left hand side here. Then there is one down the bottom. So now all the wheels has come out. We will begin to take out some of the components. We can begin with by taking out the speaker piece at the top here. There is a small clip. We need to pull out the small clip and the speaker should pops off like this. So there is a metal piece sit on top of the speaker. So make sure that it sits like that. Then here is the home buttons that we can take out. You can see that we should take out this metal plate first because it is covering the home buttons. So we will using this block pry tools, and we go underneath and push up this camera module. It is stick to the frame, so we can just lift the frame up and take the cameras out. So that is our place. We can put it here. Now there's supposed to be a white filter here. I suspect it's already been replaced. This one has been replaced before. That's why we can't see the filter. But that's okay, because if you got one, you should move this white filter over. And there is some piece of plastic here. If the new screen doesn't have them, then you need to move it over. If they already do, then you can use the new one instead of the old one. Okay, so we have removed the camera. Now to the bottom, we will take out the home buttons. And you can see here it is a little bit sticky, so by using a heat gun, we can heat it up. If you don't heat it up, it can become difficult, and if you try to force it out, you might break it. So it is easier if you just try to heat it up with a heat gun, and then it can come out easily just like that. And even with the home button, if there is a little bit of heat, the adhesive should come out easily, like so. As you can see, so that's the home button there, and that is the screens. And here is a complete breakdown of all the pieces. I'm just going to take the camera out so you can see a complete breakdown of all the items. So here are all the pieces once we have taken it out. As you can see, if we look onto this board here, now we'll begin off with the two screws at the bottom. We took out these two screws so that we could remove the screens. Then there is the logic board, the battery connectors, the side clip, so this one clip down the screens. Then you got the side clip here on the left hand side. Some of the screws to hold down the speakers are right here. When we got the camera, the metal plate, then you got the metal piece that's holding down some of the flash light components. Then there are more screws and metal pieces around here. This is the vibrator, and here is a metal piece for the volume key. Then moving to this side, here are some of the metal piece at the bottom of the back housing, and this is the speaker piece, microphone. Then you got the charging port, the earpiece, and the speaker flex cable. Here is the actual speaker hardware. Then you got the volume buttons key, the power key, the SIM tray, the antenna, and here is the flex cable for the power button and the volume key. Then you got this cool metal piece down here, and this is the battery. Then moving on to the screen is right here, and you got the home buttons, the home key. Now you got the camera modules and the metal plate that sits on top of the glass. And that's all these old components laying out on the table for you to see. So the next part is we're going to put everything back together in the new housing. Okay, we'll start off by putting some of the tape down from the old frame. So you can see here there's at the top, just under the antenna, there's a black piece of tape. So we'll take it out and put it down, and on the left hand side here there's also a tape you can peel out from the old frame, and we're going to put it back onto the new frame. So we're just going to push it down. Then there's another small piece at the top. So if it's hard to pull it out, you can use the heat gun to heat it up, and then peel it out. Make sure you get the glue out as well, and then transfer this tape over to the new frame. So we try to transfer everything that we can from the old frame over to the new one. Next we can put on the clip on the side. This clip is used to hold down the screen. So we're going to transfer them over as well. There are two clips on each side, two on the left and two on the right, and this helps hold down the screen. Next we put the clip on for the bottom part. Now we will continue to put on the clips on the other side as well. So we'll just tighten this one up. So I'm just going to turn the phone around and we'll try to put the clip on the other side. And again, there's one at the top and one near the middle. Make sure they are nice and secure. So I'm just going to tighten it again to make sure it's very tight. The next part we're going to try to put in the charging dock. So we'll bring out all this silver ring and put it back on. There should be 4 of them. So at the bottom here, the 2 ring is attached in one straight line, as you can see. So just peel them off and then put over. And here's the microphone piece. So just wanted to put this black microphone piece from the old frame over to the new one. Make sure that it goes in the right way. And this is the speaker filter. Again, try to bring everything over from the old frame, including the adhesive. I'm just going to turn it around to make sure it goes in the right way. Okay, once it is stick nice and firm into place, then you can move on to the next part. And here's the whole charging dock. So you want to push that black piece of rubber inside. That's the microphone. So just push it in. And make sure you push the charging dock right into place. Okay, I'm now going to put the speaker back on. Make sure this piece of metal sits in the right place. They can come off really easily. We're now going to put the screw back in. I like to start from the left hand side and moving towards to the right hand side. So there are a few more screws to just secure the charging port. Make sure that you put in the right screw in the right hole. Otherwise, it can be challenging to get them to sit down tightly. Okay, for the next part, we'll try to put back the volume and the power flex cable. So here is the volume key. Make sure you have that two piece of metal in there. Sometimes with a replacement back housings, the volume key doesn't have that metal piece inside. So make sure you transfer them over if it hasn't got one, or you can just reuse the old volume buttons from the old frame. this is the mute button. Make sure you put them in the right way. Now you can see there is a white strip at the top. Make sure it is facing upwards, so that white strip should stay on the top. And here is the flex cable. So make sure you push the mute button to the down position. It just make it easier to put it together. There is also an antenna supposed to go right in there. So we now put the antenna back. And then also there is a screw that you need to use to screw down the antenna. And it sits just underneath that sticker, that tape right there. So we just push that tape up, and then we'll put the screw back on. And with these screws, it should secure the antenna down. Now it's time for us to put the flex cable back on. So I like to start with the volume key. Make sure the mute sits behind the volume key and not in front. Now as you can see right here, sometimes you can easily get mixed up on this part here, but you can see the mute key should sit behind the volume key. To make it easy, we'll start to put in one screw first so that it holds down the flex cable on one side. So we'll screw this back in. You want to test the button to make sure that you can press it and make a click noise. Sometimes it can get stuck, so because of the frame is not perfect, so you want to double check to make sure that the button is clickable. If you're pressing it and it's only click once and it gets stuck, then you need to fix it. Now take note of this metal piece. It sits on the right hand side of that mute button. Make sure you put in that metal piece. And then that screws sit on top of that metal piece right there. Okay, now that we got the three buttons in place, you can also test this button while you are still working on it. If everything works good, then you can move on to the next piece. Just want to secure everything. Okay, now we're going to pay our attention onto the power or the lock button. Again, with the power button or the lock button, there is a small piece of metal there. Make sure you have that small piece of metal, otherwise it won't work. Now that metal clip is facing downwards, so make sure you put it in the right way so it sits in a down position like that, as you can see. And from here we can put the flex cable back on. The flex cable is secured down by the two screws, and it is together with the flash. Now you can see there's a piece of tape there that we have forgotten to bring it over. Make sure you bring it over from the old frame. So there it is, it's quite sticky. We're just gonna bring it over to this new one. And we're just gonna push down the flashlight. So now we'll put all the screws back on. Now on the right hand side, the top corner there, near the camera, there's this metal piece that you need to put in there. So once you put that metal piece in there, you can then put the screw back on onto the lock button on the right hand side. You also want to test the power button at this stage. Should make sure everything works perfectly. Make sure it make that nice and firm click noise. Also turn over and make sure the flash cameras sit in the right place. Now you can see the flex cable is not really sticking down because it loses the adhesiveness from the old frame. At this point, if you want, you can use a 3M double-sided tape and put a bit down to hold down the flex cable. So you can see I'm just going to put a small piece of tape there. Okay, so just go around the board, the frame, and make sure everything's all in nice and secure in place before we go ahead and putting the logic board down. So there is also another this metal piece here that you need to put down. Once you pull off from the oil frame, it's lose the adhesiveness, so it won't stick down very well. Again, I could use a double-sided tape to stick it down a little bit. As you can see, it's not going to stick down very well. Here I'm going to use a 3M stickers. It's a double-sided stickers to hold down the adhesive, hold down the tape, using the adhesive to hold down the tape. Okay, now so we're going to put the vibrator back on. So here's the vibrator. It sits just right here. Once the vibrator is back on, we're gonna put this gold metal piece back on here. So there's this gold metal piece that needs to go on top here. And I'm gonna zoom in so you can see. You can see this gold metal piece. It needs to go in here. So put that one in. Then from here, we're gonna put this metal bracket on. So this one here goes in here like so. So I'm just gonna put this one back. And this go in here like this. and we can put the wheel back on. So it's the long one. So once this goes into place, so we put this piece in like so, and then we have these wheels sit on top. Like so. Now these are the wheels that go on here. With the other wheels, this is the one that you need to put on. So it's the tall one, not the flat one, so it's the tall one. And then there is another wheel that sits on top of this one. After that, we can put the logic back on. So now the logic back is putting back on here. So we lift this one up. So lift this logic board up like so, and move this power cable, flex cable out of the way. And now make sure everything sits in place like so. So it should sit in place, all the wheels should align. But when you put this one in, make sure you don't forget the antenna cables. So I've just forgot the antenna cables right there. So we're going to put the antenna cable back on. So we're going to, the next step we're going to put the logic board back on. Turn your phone over and reconnect the antenna cables. So if we go in, and we will try to connect this together. Then now turn this one up, move this flex cable out, and then have the motherboard sit down in that positions. Check to make sure everything sit in place. So everything all sit in place. Now we will secure the board with a screws. I will want to secure the board, so I will put down one in the middle first. Right there. And that helps keep the board down. And then we put one over here as well. Then we put the tools wheel down here. Now we can also do one for the SIM tray. This lever at the top should be facing up and towards you. Then this wheels comes in. Now there is another one at the top here we can put in. After you put in, we will now use a flathead to secure the wheels. Then there's two down here. We also need to secure it using a flathead. Okay, so now there are some more screws at the top that we need to put on. It goes in this way. And there's another one here, so okay, now we can put back the camera. So before we put back the camera, there is a piece of cover, adhesive strip that we need to cover up. So we put this one on the screws right there. So we're going to cover this one here, and then we're going to cover this one as well. There is a piece of sticky tape that we can cover up the screws right there. If you lost this piece of tape, then it's okay, but normally there is a piece of tape there covering the screws. If you haven't got one, then it's still okay. You can live without it. Now we're going to put the camera back on. So place this cable inside first by pointing the cameras down this way, and then from the top we push inwards like so, and now we will connect the cables onto the logic board. Make sure it sits nice and firm. Now we will cover it with this metal bracket that sits right on the top like so, and we will screw down with a small screws. And we're also going to screw it one on this side here as well. Now we'll put the last one on to cover up the camera. Make sure this one sits all the way down nice and firm so that the camera doesn't move around. We can turn over and check on the cameras to see it is properly align. We can peel out the plastic cover here just so that it helps us easily seize the cameras. So you can clean it later, but yeah, that's the camera. It sits nice and round in the center. Okay, now we can connect this power cable down the board while we have our hand at it. So by simply just connecting the cables, just zoom out a little bit so we can connect this cable down. Okay, now we can connect the power flex cable, also share with the volume key. So this one here, you can see it is loose. We're gonna connect it. Just be very gentle with this cable here. Sometimes it can be tricky to connect. So if you do it too quick or too hard, you might damage it. Now just feel it and then push it down. And that's it. So once that is into place, we can now put this antenna back on to the motherboard. So we're going to move it down here, and then we will try to push into the socket. Need to click on. If it doesn't click on, then you need to get it click on so that it stays in place, like so. As you can see, it doesn't move anymore. Now once it is clicked on, we can push this one down and then connect it. So push it down and connect it. Okay, so flatten everything down. Okay, now that we have finished all that parts, we can also at this point, if you want, you can put the SIM tray in. And we're gonna put the battery back on. So at the moment there's nothing here to hold down the battery, so you can either use this brand new adhesive strip. You can get them online, so you can get this adhesive strip, or you can use this tape here. It's 3M tape, so you can use that tape if you wanted to. It's up to you. So I would just cut this tape out into 2 pieces and stuck it on, one at the top and one at the bottom, like so. And then we're just going to peel out the piece of paper. And then take out a piece of paper there. There's another piece of paper up here. We're going to take it out as well. And then we'll put the battery on. So make sure the battery aligns properly. And then try to see if you can connect first before you swash down the battery. So first we connect the connector, and once everything fits in, we can then push the battery down so that it sticks to the adhesive. And now you can see it won't move. So even the adhesive is really sticky. So you can kind of wiggle the battery along a little bit, but it's pretty secure. The battery won't fall out. You can see. Okay, once the battery is in place, we can cover it up with the bracket. So we put the bracket in here, and then we put the screw back on. So now put the screw on the bottom and the top bracket. We'll begin with this screw here, and we'll put it on the bottom bracket right here. It doesn't really matter if you put on the bottom one first or the top one first. as long as both of them are screwed in. And this is the last bit here, and this complete the back housing replacement. In the next part I'm going to put the screen back together, so if you want to follow these videos, you'll see the back screen is now being put together. Here is all the parts for the screens. So we're gonna get a brand new screen. I'm going to remove this cover here. Now with the screens, we're going to put the home buttons on, like so. So we can turn over to see, make sure it all aligns properly. Then we put this metal bracket over. So we're just gonna zoom it down so you can see. Now we put this wheel back on. Now we'll put the home button bracket back on. There are two screws to screw it down. One on the left and one on the right. Here we can now put the back plate on. So you can use a tweezer to pull out the bracket, that metal piece there, which helps the back metal plate come down easily. Better check to see if you have extra. If you have extra, we don't need this piece here. We can remove it. We already have one over here, so we can put down the glass. So like so. Now there is a bracket that you need to put into place. So we hold it down like this, and then put it down in here. Here we can use this one and swash it in. So it should hold up. Then using this, Okay, now using your hand, bend the cable down a little bit. And with all the screw put back into place, there's one more down here that we need to put back on. Okay, now we are ready to put the phone back in. So hold down the phone. So holding with your thumb, holding down these cables, we'll put in the LCD cables. So now we want to check to see, make sure the screen sits in the proper place. We also want to check the buttons to make sure the buttons works as they are intended. We'll try to press them and move them and make sure they works. Press on the power button, press on the home button, make sure everything works as it should. Now you can try to test the screen, make sure the screen works well. We can also check the camera, so make sure the front and the back camera works. We also want to try to check for vibrator, make sure the vibrator works. So front camera, back camera, home button. So after you have checked out everything works, we want to check the charging port to make sure the charging port works. There it is, showing that it's charging. You might want to wait for a minute or two to make sure that the charging is working and the percentage goes up. So now it's 8%. So if you wait long enough, it should go up to 9%. Again, you want to test the screen rigorously to make sure that everything works correctly. So move the icon up and down and make sure there are no dead pixels on the screen. Make sure all the touch is working correctly. So that seems to work well. Check the buttons again to make sure it works. Everything works well, so that's good. Next, you might also want to put in the SIM card to make sure that the SIM card also works.